All right, we're going to the board. That's what we're
Tactical
doing.
board.
Let me switch over to the tactical board.
We are in Dave's cruise control now. No more photos, Dave. It's just tactical board. There's a mouse in front of you.
Oh, can you see it?
Yeah, but it's
Oh no.
no, it's fine. But don't we have the full?
Oh, is it not full?
You can just go to the tab for
Yeah,
him
the
and
tab.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
oh,
what
I
I'm
see
saying.
what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
go to the tab for
It's up
Mr.
there
Dave,
somewhere.
and we're
There you
good. Yeah, there we
That's what I
go.
was talking about. All right, I want to say a couple things while Carmen is transitioning over there. So first of all, both in the 83rd minute and the 86th minute, we turned the ball over. It was Almada, it was Araujo, it was running in space. We were up the field. I mean, it looked like the way it was supposed to be, Mikey Dobbs, the way we were talking about it all last year. So there is a sense that it's possible. And I have one more point, which is in the 78th minute, Yakamakis actually was in our own penalty area
Yeah.
with a fabulous clearance. If he can do that, that's a bonus.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have the right players on the board for you with what you're trying to show here. Um,
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really matter. um, yeah. So here's my thing. I'm gonna start with a question.
mm-hmm.
All right. So here's the first question for y'all, right? And maybe Dobbs, you can help out Carmen with the microphone.
Yeah. Swing around. You're switching.
But I don't know if she
spots
can
with
stand
Dave.
with her knee and whatever.
I got it.
Are you sure? You can
Yeah.
still sit here.
Oh no, I'm fine. I don't even think I have a camera on, so it's just all tactical board all the time.
Don't hurt yourself,
I will
please.
stop.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're fixing it all on Tuesday.
Okay, so why do you want to play Araujo inverted? That's the question.
What would be the reason?
Yeah.
Is I think you're going to expect more goals from him coming in from that direction versus being a purely service person, that you're going to expect him to get into the box and do more penetration directly in, right? Like you saw in the game, right? Where he was able to get inside the box, cut it back and score. Carmen?
I agree with that.
Carmen agrees with me. Dave, do you agree with me?
Yeah, so that's one reason. There's a second reason. So here's
Yeah.
Araujo.
Well, the second reason is that there is the design of Lennon overlapping as the right footer, right?
Yeah.
So, which is why we think that Pineda is hell bent on it. Is Lennon's a great player; he can overlap and put in quality service to Gigi. Like you would have to think that's his thinking long term, right? Is that now that you've got Araujo cutting in as a threat, you lay it out to Lennon. Lennon whips in across, and Yakamakis scores a goal.
Okay, so I've put us on offense because, and this is what we look like on offense, with three in the back, with Parada playing directly in the center back, and Gutman and Robinson sort of flanking him, and Lennon ends up sort of all the way up here, right? And so this is what we're talking about. What's supposed to happen is Lennon's supposed to create this 2v1, and their left back is not supposed to know what to do, right? And so then there's two things that are supposed to happen. Either Araujo cuts in here with the ball and goal, right? Or he feeds Lennon out here. So this is where Pineda thinks that we got our 2v1, we got our wingers, it's overloaded. He keeps talking about it, and he thinks that we have now played to both players' strengths and gained an advantage.
Which is what we've talked about in the last podcast, right? It is an overload, but it's a very flat overload in terms of the back line on the defense. It's hard to play balls through into Araujo in a ticky-tacky way to do so in a way that wouldn't create an offside.
Okay, so now let's say Lennon, that doesn't happen, and Lennon is open, and Araujo draws him in, and we play here. Would we rather have the ball with Lennon, or would we rather have the ball with Araujo?
I mean, right here, I guess I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say the jury is out because the jury's out on whether Yakamakis is truly able to crash the box with commitment like you saw from the Martinez days. So until I know what he's made of, I don't know how to answer that question.
Ooh, that was a good answer. Because I was just gonna say Araujo.
Yeah.
I'd
No,
always rather
because
have Araujo.
Araujo is definitely the wrong answer with what we've
Yeah.
seen, because
Yeah.
I know what he's going to do there. He's going to kick it in the stands.
Yeah,
Good point. Good
so
point.
I feel like if the system gets the ball off of Araujo's foot and onto Lennon's foot, overall that's a loss. I'd rather more of the time for Araujo to have the ball. Now, I'm not saying Lennon, I think occasionally running forward can whip a great ball in. I think Papa Giorgio can finish that. But
I'm gonna disagree until I see what Papa Giorgio can do.
yeah.
I think if you were looking at it like you're looking at it now, that ball has to go to Lennon. If I'm looking at the tactical board as you have it, that ball has to go to Lennon on any team.
I'm gonna
or adjust it to where I need to judge this differently, because you would want that ball out wide to Lennon to whip it into Giacomakis, who even just on a small body of evidence seems to have the capability to have a nose for goal.
Okay, now if I were to put Araujo over there on the ball,
amen, brother.
No, but would you rather have Araujo on the ball there,
yes,
or Lennon on the ball there, if you had a choice?
Araujo on the ball left.
Yeah, I think so too. Right, because here I think Araujo is every bit as capable of whipping in a ball
way more
to Papa Giorgio, and the thing that Araujo can do is, whew,
but hey,
see ya.
Then here's the problem with your correctness on this and our correctness on this is we now have all of our talent on the left forward position, including Wiley, Etienne, and now Araujo, to your point, who are all capable of doing that at different degrees. And I think, to your point, Araujo is probably the best at it. But what does that mean for starting lineups in Etienne and Wiley if you're going there?
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
So here's the problem I have, which is what we've seen a lot of, is Lennon is on the ball here, and Araujo is kind of in here.
So for the podcast listeners, this is Lennon out wide as the right fullback overlapping. Araujo is pinched in at the top of the 18 against the offensive box.
Yeah, we saw this. I was talking about earlier in the podcast, right? Lennon was running with the ball, and Araujo was like backing up. Like, he's like, "Where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go?" Right now, we also saw a moment where Araujo scored. Right, the moment that we saw Araujo scored came from Lennon was back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, and they were playing up here. Gutman won the ball. Right, we actually won the. I think it was Gutman. It was somewhere over here. He played. It wasn't to Papa Giorgio. It was to Barry. But he played a ball to the chest of Barry. This guy collapsed in here. Right,
so
he drops it back to Wiley here, who instantly plays it to here. And Araujo got the ball. This guy was up here because it was fast, right? So he got the ball with only one guy, and he received the ball. He was right on the line, basically.
Yeah. So just cuts him, puts
so
him on his back foot,
here,
post it.
Cutting him inside, which he did this, and he shot from somewhere right about here. Actually, it was a little bit further even, and he put it back to the near post.
He was inside the 18. Yeah.
So that is a big difference in that. So two things happened on that play. We turned it over up the field, and we got him on the ball quickly. So that meant A, Lennon wasn't crowding his space and bringing his defender there. B, he got the ball one-on-one, and C, he got the ball that he was actually inside the 18.
So nothing new in terms of our point of view with Lennon, needing to stay back more often and allowing more freedom for Araujo to run on the right side, assuming he is inverted. But let me go back to what you were just showing on the tactical board, where Araujo is more dangerous on his natural left to whip one into Giacomakis or Barry, whoever is playing up front, ideally Papa Giorgio. So isn't it a problem, though, that we have all these left footers that are, Wiley and Etienne and Araujo and only one Lennon out there on the right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so I think that ultimately Etienne didn't come here to sit on the bench, and that he's probably going to be in here, and maybe Wiley's going to be on the bench, or I could even see Wiley and Etienne. And I'll
But
show you in a
to
minute.
to your point, like why would Pineda bench Wiley with 2 goals? Like that's not
Oh
in
yeah,
his DNA. He's a
Yeah.
starter again.
no, but
Etienne sitting the bench, right? So
we'll talk about that, but let me propose one thing first.
okay,
So if this wasn't Wiley, and let's say this is Etienne, so this is what he would say.
right.
But so I think that if you simply did this,
So you're bringing Etienne over to inverted on the opposite side
right. So here's the thing. So
as a forward, right? You're playing Etienne as a forward
yeah, he's the
inverted.
right of a front three. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always play a front three. In this case, Araujo would be left, Papa Giorgio in the center, Etienne on the right, and Lennon always crowding up his space over here, right? So if we did this, right? So first of all, Etienne looks to me like much, much more comfortable on
Mhm.
his right side. He looks like a real two-footed player to me.
Yeah.
He also doesn't look as pacey as Araujo. Like he can get behind people, but he's
Yeah.
not like that super fast. And the third thing about it is he looks like he has the technique to play a little bit in tight spaces. So I really like now what Pineda's been saying all the time, which is let's load the side 2v1. I think Lennon and Etienne can play 2v1. And now if Etienne has to give up, where did the ball go? If Etienne has to give up the ball because he draws this defender to Lennon out wide, I think Lennon is just as good an option as Etienne. Right?
Miguel, likey.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. So now the other thing is in this unbalanced system, right? Gutman has to stay back all the time. You know what that does?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at all this space that Araujo has to
and
operate
now we've
on.
got look at who the 3 people back are, all that seem to have good brains and defense. Those 3, and then imagine Sosa in front of them. That's 4
ooh.
that are always eyeballing what the danger is. So yeah, let's put in the ideal starting lineup, which I think you have it now, right? With that small little tweak of bringing in
Yep.
Sosa, that's it. So wow.
So here's the other thing. So when Gutman comes forward, what is he comfortable? What's the run that he makes that Lennon never makes?
More of an inside track.
Yes,
Yeah.
the underneath.
Mhm.
So instead of Lennon, if this were Lennon, I'm going to use as Gutman, but if this was Lennon, he always comes out here. Gutman makes this inside run. Okay, when he makes that inside run, now first of all, Araujo is out here. This guy has to come out here, right? So if he makes that inside run, this guy is Araujo is gonna draw a lot of attention, and he can get through and get on the ball there.
Yeah.
Right. Or the other thing is he makes the run and this guy doesn't know what to do. And now Araujo gets to run at him. That inside run is opening up the space where Araujo can use it instead of crowding his space.
Yeah.
Right. If he comes out here and he forces Araujo to come in here, Araujo can't run by people here. He can run by the guy, but there's always another defender there.
Yeah.
Right. Out here, you invert them. Right. Good luck trying to stay with Araujo out here one-on-one in space.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you.
So if you were to switch those players, right now, what Pineda would say is, yeah, but you lose, Araujo cutting inside and scoring. But you know what Araujo is also going to score on?
That cross that's lingering the far side, or that hop over move that Almada made for Wiley.
We have seen a number of times where Araujo has been not inverted. Let's put him back over here. And let's say it was Gutman, right? And we've seen this cross to get to Araujo, and he won't even shoot it because it's on his right foot.
Yeah.
You can't hit that ball coming across with your left foot. It's very difficult to do. So he tries to take a touch, and often the play is gone.
Yeah.
But if that's coming across the other way,
Araujo's a world-class player. Should be able to finish with both feet.
well, but he can't. He doesn't.
Yeah, I
He
know
didn't
he
trust it,
can.
yeah.
Come on.
Maybe he can, but he doesn't do it. But if it goes the other way, he's going to feel much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And here's the other one that he's going to do if we have this. So let's put Gutman back here. Let's switch this. right? If we can get the quick switch out to him, right? And he now gets this guy, a little bit isolated here, right? He can beat this guy right here and he can score from there.
So, podcast listeners, this is Araujo cutting in the top of the left of the box. And we believe, Dave believes that can lead to a lot of goals for Araujo with his natural left on the left side, coming from wide in versus having to cut back on his inverted side. And I agree. And I think Lennon now will have a little more freedom on his own, right? With Etienne maybe being a little bit of a better compadre potentially. I mean, we haven't seen it. Maybe they work better together. I would say that I'm not sure that Lennon and Araujo work fantastic on the right side in terms of chemistry. So
not that we've seen.
Not that we've seen, right? So I think that's important, right? In your hypothesis here of this could be better, why not see if Lennon and Etienne can work better, with Etienne being the inverted and Lennon having maybe more success overlapping, creating dangerous crosses to two great players in George Yakimakis and Araujo waiting on the backside for the cross.
And where I think that we can see a lot of Wiley in the system. So first of all, Wiley can sometimes start for Araujo.
Sub in late at 70 minutes.
Not that, but occasionally give him a start where
rotation,
gets a rest, rotation. I also think that something that might work is this.
Rotation, yeah.
Right? Either this.
Okay.
So what you're saying is you put in Wiley as the 9 or the false 9, essentially.
Or even these guys often interchanging, and they can be at times like this.
Yikes. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got Wiley and Araujo who could be both swapping back and forth from left forward to false 9, depending on the run of play.
Because we have one problem in that we have zero backup for Yakimakis. No offense to Barry, but
no offense to Barry, but
he's not gonna get it done.
But Wiley and Chol are better options.
Yeah.
And
I think Chol actually, when he comes back, Chol, in my opinion, is a little bit of a, I don't want to say a poor man's Wiley, but Wiley, I think, is a little further along.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But maybe Chol is a better false 9 than Wiley. Wiley seems to be a better natural left winger.
I can see
forward.
Chol there. Yeah, for sure.
But in that case where you need somebody who's a little taller, a little bit more, I don't know, like Chol has that weird kind of awkward way of like weaving in there. I don't know. Like he's got something. He's got that X. He does have
physical too.
He's physical. He's got an
physical player.
But I'm getting he's got an X factor that's hard to figure out.
And he runs direct at people, right? Which I like.
True.
Yeah,
that is true.
I liked it. To be honest, the one thing I really, probably the only thing I liked on the preseason is Pineda playing Chol as a striker. I think that worked in the preseason. That looked to me like good. And I was really optimistic about it because I'm like, we got Papa Giorgio coming in. Now we still need a backup. We need two strikers.
Yeah.
Right? I was not convinced about Conway. I didn't know we were going to get Barry. We got Barry. I'm still not convinced. Right? So,
But I feel like Chol has this like weird, like the way his body moves, he's hard to predict. And he's wiry. Like that's what I'm getting at. And I feel like him up in the box like creates this dynamic thing that, I know he's coming from the left traditionally, but I feel like that would be interesting to see from time to time.
I'd like to see
my point here is that if you're Pineda and you are absolutely committed to the unbalanced attack, which is Lennon's going to be up forward most of the time and Gutman's going to be back, right? When you do that, you are crowding the space here, and I'd rather see him crowd a player like Etienne. He can play 2v1 over here. When he crowds Araujo, it's just going to piss him off. And the other thing is, with Gutman not going forward, there's a ton of acres out here. I would totally rather see Araujo in that space.
Yeah.
So podcast listeners, if you're not watching this on YouTube, I highly encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, see what we're diagramming here, because I think you'll get a lot out of it. Dave, thanks for going to the tactical board. Carmen, thanks for hobbling over and joining the fire.
I'm about to say, it's warm over here by the fire. I like it.
We're running out of wine, though. We'll fix that. So Who are we playing next? We've got Portland coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
Portland on Saturday,
And
correct?
that is
at home.
the
That's
day
the
after
best.
St. Patrick's Day.
Eh,
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the game yet again.
okay.
This is terrible.
So what I just want to make one more slight point about that. The reason why I was trying to think about that a lot is because like we can't fight Pineda. Pineda is who Pineda is, right?
Yeah.
And he sees certain things. He has clearly tried to fix the back four with this unbalance and keeping Gutman back. I think it's ultimately a little bit crazy because it's all to get more attacking out of Lennon. And I don't think Lennon is the best attacking player. I think you could get almost as much of that out of him if he stayed back. But anyway, we're not going to fix that. But one thing that could happen without changing anything to the lineup is switch the sides.
I like it.
It's so easy.
Well, right, because we have so many left-footed forwards now
Right.
with Chol, Wiley, Etienne, Araujo, that why not play with those chess pieces and figure out where the chemistry is?
And I don't even mind like Wiley could be an inverted because Wiley looks like he likes to run direct. He's in the box more often, right? He doesn't look to me as dangerous taking on a guy running in space as Araujo is, although I think he's really good at it.
Yeah.
But and I think, Etienne looks to me like a guy who can play out there and has both feet, right? Then he has Etienne can play 2v1 overloaded. He can cut back inside for a shot if he wants. I mean, then I think it's really dangerous.